are going to talk about some greenfields exploration, but we're drilling gold, as Jay said. At least we can see it. So that's a good first step. Obviously, apprise yourself of the cautionary language here and on our website. I'll certainly make forward looking statements when talking about geology. But there is a gold rush happening in Lapland. I'm sure some of you have heard of it, and it's the Central Lapland Greenstone Belt. And many of you are probably also aware that greenstone belts are prolific producers of gold around the world, and most of them have a dozen or more junior companies and majors playing. Here in Lapland, things are a bit tighter. A little tiny FireFox is a major player here with key lands next to major discoveries and adjacent to Europe's biggest gold mine. We've been moving fast. Our team is nimble. With most of the technical team and our CEO based in Finland, we haven't even been impeded very much during this year of COVID restrictions around the place. And now we've blossomed into one of the largest land positions, over 800 square kilometers that we control 100% in this belt. And I'll take you through more of that story. We were founded near the bottom of the gold market, really. Things were pretty tough in 2016 and 2017. We listed in a tough year in 2018. But when we did so, we had some institutional investors with us right from the beginning. We've tallied up some of those institutional investors on this slide. And today, our largest shareholder is Crescat Capital here in Denver, Colorado. But SSI out of Zurich is a substantial shareholder. And we have Magnus Minerals and a few of us on the board as significant shareholders as well. And the journey's been going, as I said, for almost 3 years now. And today we have about 100 million shares out and a market cap of about $25 million. But look at this slide showing some enterprise values here of what's happened in Finland. In Finland, of course, there are 4 juniors and 2 majors that pretty much control the gold portion of this greenstone belt. And look at the enterprise values here. Almost exactly a year ago now, Rupert Resources announced a great discovery at Ikkari in their Area 1 project. And of course, they've soared over the last 15 months on that success. And of course, here sit a number of other juniors with Orion Resources, S2 Resources, and ourselves. That's pretty much the belt, along with B2 Gold and Agnico Eagle. So a tight sort of cadre of junior companies and a couple of majors exploring here. And there we sit at very much a pre-discovery valuation, but proud to be doing real exploration in this emerging belt. Clearly, I don't have time to give the attention due to the team, but I want to point out my business partner, Carl Lofberg, the CEO of FireFox in Finland. And of course, that's really key in a year like this. Carl's an economist and sort of hard currency specialist, and I'm a technical guy with a long career in both majors and junior companies. But on the technical side of the team, we have Dr. Sven Honig, a PhD structural geologist running exploration for us in Europe. And he has the support of a lot of great technical advisors, including Dr. Rich Goldfarb, one of the leading experts in the world on orogenic gold, who's been with us since our founding. Last year, of course, Quentin and I joined forces here as Quentin joined our technical advisory board as well. And alongside Drs. Petri Peltonen and Alf Bjorklund, probably about 70 years of Finland exploration experience among those guys, helping out the team in the field. This is a lot of the story in Lapland, and you're seeing most of the gold prospective part of the belt here on this slide. And if it's not shaded a color other than green, then it's either under a moratorium or it's protected territory or just plain not prospective for gold. This belt's pretty well tied up, and you can see FireFox's land positions here in gold. We're going to talk about all 4 of our either drill ready or soon to be drill ready projects here in just a moment. But let me orient you about the belt and just to give you a bit of a lay of the land. This is Agnico Eagle's land position up here with the Kittilä mine, 9 million ounces in production and resources there. And then, of course, we have Rupert's Ikkari Area 1 discovery here and their land position shown in green. Orion is shown in blue here, and between they and FireFox are probably the largest tenement holders in the belt. B2 Gold is prospecting here as well in this sort of flesh color. Just to orient you a little bit more, there's the town of Kittilä with an international airport and ski hill just north of it. And Sodankylä down here, about 8,000 people in that mining town. And connected up between those 2 towns, we have paved highways crisscrossing the north here, incredible Finnish infrastructure, even though we're well north of the Arctic Circle in this part of the world. So incredible infrastructure, great geology. And we'll be talking about this black line here. This is called the Serca Shear Zone, and it's the through going crustal break you tend to see in these greenstone belts that controls a lot of the gold systems. So we'll be exploring right along that belt quite a lot on some of the FireFox properties. First, let's talk about Musty RV, where, as Jay pointed out, we're anxiously awaiting some assays. This was one of our listing properties, and here sits that paved highway right there going through the property, incredible access. And it's really, the concept is built upon this shear zone. We call it the Musty RV shear. It dips to the south. It's actually part of a huge shear system called the Vinayaki thrust, which again, these through going crustal scale faults. And along that fault, we've conducted all this magnetics ourselves, making this colorful map. You see the magnetic rocks here are mafic volcanic rocks, and across the shear we get into sedimentary rocks. Pretty prolific contact in orogenic gold to see volcanics and sediments. And here too, Outokumpu in the 90s first recognized some gold here with some very shallow drill holes, no deeper than 50 meters, but they hit some 10 to 20 gram mineralization near surface. And a very small pit right here actually exploited a little bit of gold as well in production. So we came in and put base of till sampling across the property with these yellow dots where you drill through the glacial cover and sample at the base of it. Lots of gold anomalies there, up to 5 grams per ton. And we started drilling in 2018 and 19 in this central zone, and we begin branching out along the shear zone, as you can see here. Zooming in a little more, here's the central zone where we encountered intercepts as high as 2 meters of 45 grams per ton and a lot of 10 to 20 gram mineralization, again, usually narrow. We stepped back to the southwest, hit high grade down here, 8 grams. And then last year, we stepped out here to the northeast and we reported a hole early this year, which was a 500 meter step out. And we again hit 2 meters of 33 grams per ton. You know, you're on the trail of something good with that much grade. And we sort of charged the team this year's drill program. We need to figure out those controls and see if we could lengthen those intercepts or find even higher grades to really demonstrate some commercial potential. And well, we're off to a good start as we stepped out a bit from this hole 9. We had a press release in April, you might have seen, because we had to announce the presence of visible gold in the drill core. And the reason that was newsworthy was we had just launched a financing. So we needed to share that information. And we include some photos of the rocks here. And this 9 meters of core in this box is quite interesting because it conveys a lot of what we're looking at here. These are sedimentary rocks here that have been pervasively altered with this pinkish mineral albite sodic alteration. Going along with that is silicification. And as you look at this, you can start to see all this white here. And these are quartz carbonate veins, often with tourmaline, the black mineral you see here, and a lot of pyrite. Well, that's a formula that's been successful for Rupert. They've been drilling similar looking quartz carbonate tourmaline veins with pyrite. And here, of course, right in this interval here, we did report that visible gold here and here. We do not have assays yet, but typically when we've seen these quartz carbonate tourmaline veins with sulfides, that's been hosting the high grades that have been reported at Musty RV before, but never with visible gold before. So it's exciting. We're all waiting for the assays. I'll just show you the drill program that's underway still at this moment. So that was the first hole where we stepped out 150 meters and hit the VG. We then filled in a little bit along that pod there, and then we jumped across the highway and drilled. You'll notice everywhere we see a bend in this shear zone, we're drilling those, and we've had some good joy with it, including here in the main zone as well. Just a couple of more holes to complete. The drilling will wind down at the end of this month. And the land position, great location on the highway. Our neighbor B2 Gold is right across the highway. And to the south, it's pretty hard to do much exploration. There's protected ground down there. So we've grabbed up all the land we can on this play. And we've got gold now for about 2 kilometers along this structure, 8 grams or higher, and plus the visible gold in this area. So assays coming sort of in the next couple of weeks. So we're jumping about 20 kilometers east now to our larger Yesio property, where we're also fully permitted for drilling here. And interesting things here, Orion is our neighbor. That you might remember the boulder discovery that Orion made in 2017. That's just a couple kilometers north of us. And also they drilled gold at their Launi prospect here to the southeast of us. This is the major Serca shear zone. As you can see, there it is bending through our property. We like to see those big faults bend because that can open up the rocks. And in our airborne magnetics data here, you can see a big fold in these rocks here, okay? And the magnetic rocks and the less magnetic are probably, again, a volcanic sediment contact. Bad news is there's a bit of swamp in here, about 3 kilometers of swamp where this fault passes through. When you get up out of the swamp, we have rock samples with 4 grams gold or so here. Of course, Orion has some here. So we followed this belt underneath the swamp, and we've drilled into some faults here, but we didn't hit much gold back 2 years ago in 2019, a couple of holes there. So now we've launched a large base of till sampling program to prospect out in that swamp. That was the technique that Rupert used before the Hickory discovery as well. So that work's been going on all through the winter here, just starting to wind down. So again, we'll be waiting on the gold and multi-element assays from that base of till sampling, and fully permitted to drill here. We expect to see some nice anomalies on this important trend on the Serka shear. And we're just going to drop about 9 kilometers south of that, still on our Yesio property, to this area called Katya. And here again, we have gold at surface. Now there's less glacial cover here, so we have outcrops with about 10 grams per gold that we've reported there in outcrop, and a lot of boulders in the 2 to 6 gram per ton category, again carrying gold at surface, only a couple kilometers from Orion's Launi prospect, where they drilled some of this sort of gold in narrow quartz veins and hid it in trenches. You can see again in our high-res airborne magnetics, a lot of folding and deformation here as these folds are cut off and displaced. A lot of the things we look for in orogenic gold here, little different type of rocks here, down in the metasedimentary rocks here, not so much tourmaline, but more quartz pyrite and gold. And of course, we have again a paved highway just here adjacent to where we have just drilled our first 2 or 3 holes ever in this area. No drilling at all, just got some reconnaissance core holes drilled here, and the drill rig returned to Musty RV to finish up that program. So now we've just jumped 15 kilometers north, and here sits Area 1 discovery by Rupert, and huge FireFox blocks to the north of that. You can see our Sarvey project where we border Rupert to the north. And this will be our 4th drill-ready project this summer, as the permit will be issued in July or August, having already gone through its hearing period. But you can see we border most of Rupert to the north, and we have these huge properties with some very prospective ground here as this structural zone bends through our huge Colho property. One property, 150 square kilometers there, in a very similar setting to Rupert's. So we'll be exploring that. We also adjoin Agnico Eagle up here near the mine, and we have 2 projects, Monto and Nunera, that are on the Serka line, as you can see there. So perhaps these more non-core properties would be great strategic joint ventures in the future. But let's show you what we're excited about at Sarvey. Here sits the Hickory discovery. You can see we're in mafic volcanics again with these northeasterly faults that pass through the zone. At our property, we've again flown some airborne magnetics. We can see these structures coming through, the mafic volcanic rocks cut by these structures. This is all swamp, just like the Rupert ground. So we'll be doing a lot of base of till sampling when this permit is granted starting this summer. But we've got some 1.5 grams of gold in a rock chip over here, and the Geological Survey of Finland drilled 3.5 grams over half a meter to the west here. We took a heavy mineral concentrate sample at the base of the till here, and we got 118 little grains of gold that probably the ice didn't transport very far. So early stage at Sarvey, great to be next to a major emerging discovery by Rupert, and the news will start flowing here at Sarvey this summer when the permit is granted. So we're pretty excited about that one. So just winding down, 2020 was a great year for FireFox as we uncovered some new high grade at Musty RV in our winter drill program, got the first holes into that new part of the Yesio project I spoke about. And of course, phase 4 at Musty RV, where we're anxiously awaiting assays, we upsized that program by about 50%. So that'll be winding down in the in about the next week or so. And of course, base of till sampling results wrapping up, the program wrapping up. That'll lead to nice news flow this summer. New permits at Sarvey, a follow up on those anomalies we see from Yesio, and of course, the anxiously awaiting drilling from Musty RV and Katya. And of course, we're also working with Gold Spot Discoveries this year on this huge land package to use their machine learning technology to help us target. That'll lead to a very active winter drilling program again, probably on all 4 of our drill-ready projects. It's been a terrific year. We're fully cashed up for this program well into 2022, so we can get busy generating news and participating in this great gold rush. And finally, we're seeing the junior companies in Lapland have sufficient financing to drill this very much under-drilled greenstone belt. So stay tuned. There'll be some good news flow. And within the next couple of weeks, Jay, we'll finally have that US listing on the OTC QB as well. So that'll be hopefully some of your audience will be able to take advantage of that. So thank you again, everyone, for your time.